All right, so we're so bad at moving ahead.
Yeah.
But there's a story that you've actually prepped before that I'm dying to hear. With Gangrel, who's come up on the channel a couple times. Ruthie J has been on the channel recently. She was trained by Gangrel. I got to hear this. What's the story?
Okay, yeah. So keep in mind, I'm a huge Gangrel guy, right? Like I remember, so like I dug the Vampire Warrior before, before he was Gangrel, and like he was the first guy I ever saw that came close to doing Muda's elbow.
Oh yeah,
So
yep.
like I always dug his work, and I remember very vividly the Sunday Night Heat when he debuted against Scott Taylor, and he comes up through the fire, and he's spitting the blood. I was just like, oh, this guy's money, right?
Cool
So I'm
Sting
just like,
too.
yes, yeah, oh, yeah, no, plus that music. Come on, get out of my face. Uh, Out on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling themes. Uh, so like I was just a huge Gangrel fan, and he would pop up on Georgia Indies all the time, and for whatever reasons, we never got to cross paths. Uh, and then just this last October, I get a phone call. Hey, would you be interested in doing a casket match with Gangrel? I was like, what words did you just say to me? Like, I've never been more interested in anything ever. Like, of course, I want to do a casket match with Gangrel. Uh,
Basic.
so like I'm on cloud nine, right? Like this is amazing. And I have my mentality going into a match with a guy like Gangrel or a guy like Matt Hardy or anybody of that stature, where like, okay, I'm not expecting you to take a lot of bumps. You can sell for me. I don't need you to bump, and that's okay, right? We can get you down without you having to flat back. I'm very, I worked Bullet Bob Armstrong about 800 times. I don't think he ever bumped for me. I got heat every time.
Adding
It's
that to the
okay.
list. We're definitely going to talk about that in the future.
uh, so that I got that same mentality going into this match. And so I'm like, oh, and he's like, blah, 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 blah. Maybe you clothesline me on the floor. I'm like, why would I do that? No, Gangrel, I don't want to do that. He's like, I feel like I want to give this guy his money's worth. I'm like, well, I mean, if you want to do it, I'll do it. But like, we put together a really good match. Like, I'm really excited about it, right? Because I'm an idiot, not once did I think, well, maybe I should check out this casket before we have this match, right? It's a casket match. It'll be fine. I've
Is
seen a
this your
million
first
of these
one?
things. Yes.
Okay.
Uh, but I mean, I've grown up on casket matches.
Yeah.
I know the score of this game. So we go out and we're having this match, and blah, 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 blah. Well, what nobody decided to let he or I know was this wasn't a gimmicked casket. This was like legit, like from from the mortuary. They're like, hey, let me borrow this real quick. We'll bring it back without a dead body. Or so we thought.
Hopefully.
So, Gangrel and I have this match, and like I'm loving it, and he's having a great time, and like it's really, really good. Like I'm really proud of this match. He hits me with the impaler, he rolls me in the casket, he shuts the lid, and all the oxygen leaves,
Oh no.
right? Because it's a legit casket.
Dead people don't need to
So,
breathe.
right? So like we just went like 15 minutes, and like I'm not blown up, but I'm also breathing heavily because I've just physically performed for 15 minutes. And the lid shuts and all the oxygen goes. And I'm like, oh, I'm not a claustrophobic man. I go into immediate freak out mode, right? So I'm pushing on this casket, trying to open the door because I don't care, right? Look, I already heard the bell ring. I did. Gangrel, you won. Congratulations. I just don't want to die. At this point, living is something I'm interested in. So I'm pushing at this door and it's not moving. it's just not giving at all. And I'm like, I'm panicking, which is not helping the situation,
No, not
right?
at all.
Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Like nobody knows. Like I don't know what to do. And so finally I take one last half, like, I've got to get out of here. And I shove as hard as I can, and the ball flies off. Like there was no weight. And I'm like, what the how did this happen? 10 seconds ago it was the heaviest thing I've ever done in my life. Now all of a sudden it's got wings. This makes no sense. So like I catch it and crack it and let the air get in, and try to keep it as closed as possible while still not dying.
Yeah.
So I get to the back and I'm like, what happened? And the guy was like, oh, I thought I went and just got a real casket because I thought it'd be more comfortable inside. I was like, oh yeah, thanks. My corpse appreciates the comfort. And Gangrel gets to the back and he's like, hey man, thank you for the match. Everything good. And we're talking. And I'm telling him, like, yeah, everything was great until the lid, the oxygen. And he goes, oh man, that's my bad. I was like, what do you mean it's your bad? He goes, yeah, well, I mean, I didn't know. So after the match, I slammed the casket lid open and then I stood on the casket and got my beauty shot. So I'm literally in this casket fighting for my life. And he's just standing on top of it, like, check it out, guys. I won.
Oh, banging and banging on top of the casket while you're
Yes.
gasping for air.
He's sipping his blood like it's wine, and I'm literally dying underneath his feet.
That is incredible. That was well worth it. I am so glad you.
And that's the time I'm the only idiot that's like, hey guys, I'll die. Oh, well, just put me in the casket alive. I'll just die in there. Right? Most people wait to get into the casket till after they die, not Sal Rinauro. I'm just like, sounds like too much work. I'll just go lay down in there. You close the door.
That's officially become one of my favorite stories on the channel. I think number one will forever be the Coco Beware story. That I don't think that can be topped.
Unreal.
Check that out, guys, if you haven't already, because I still laugh at it just thinking about it. It was that good.
As do I. I lived it. That's still like I have to question the legitimacy of it sometimes.